1. I've been friends with Oliver since childhood. We've been inseparable since we were in diapers. Each other's beds were like our second homes. This deep friendship quietly changed during our senior year of high school. It was me who changed. I realized that I had fallen in love with Oliver. Falling in love with Oliver wasn't difficult. He's been a top student since childhood. He's tall, handsome, and has 8-pack abs. It was when I saw his abs that I had a reaction and realized something was off with me. But I've seen other people's abs too, and I didn't have that kind of reaction. I was struggling with whether I was gay or not while preparing for the college entrance exam. I lost more than 10 pounds in a month. Oliver thought I was under too much study pressure and brought me delicious food every day in different ways. It made my nose bleed. Oliver often stayed overnight at my place and played games shirtless at night. My nose bled even more severely. Oliver was almost scared to death by my gushing nosebleed and fumbled to stop the bleeding. I didn't want to bleed to death, so I had to tell the truth. I'll be fine if you put on your clothes. Oliver was skeptical. As he put on his t-shirt, he grinned mischievously. What's this all about? Does my abs arouse your desires? I was so desperate that I just said, if you say so, then so be it. I thought I'd scare Oliver away, but he leaned over seductively and said, do you want to touch them? I swallowed hard and forced my eyes away from Oliver's abs. No. 1. I'm afraid I'd have a nosebleed. 2. In the last half year of senior high school, I studied desperately. Firstly, it was to let knowledge occupy my brain and think less about those dirty thoughts. Secondly, it was to get into Peking University where Oliver was recommended to. Although I couldn't be sure of Oliver's feelings, I still didn't want to be separated from him. Seeing me studying so hard, Oliver felt extremely. He vowed firmly and said boldly, Henry, you don't have to work so hard. It doesn't matter if you don't do well in the exam. I'll support you. Meeting Oliver's worried eyes, I really wanted to ask for a lifetime, but I didn't dare. It wasn't the right time yet, so I had to change the topic. Oliver, what if I can't get into Peking University? Then I'll give up Peking University and go to your school. Oliver answered without the slightest hesitation. Such a heavy promise came out of his mouth as easily as saying that he wouldn't have spare ribs for lunch and would have fried noodles with bean sauce instead. It was as easy as a joke. I didn't believe it. I dared not believe it, but the fact told me that Oliver wasn't joking. I missed out on Peking University by 20 points. After crying my eyes out, I had to settle for Hwada University. Oliver took me out on a trip on the pretext of relaxing. After we came back, both he and I received the admission notice from Hwada University. I stared at Oliver's bright smile and was in a daze for a long time. If this isn't love, for the first time, I blushed in front of Oliver, and the little flame in my heart that was about to go out reignited. I planned to confess my love to Oliver on October di Sergio. October di Sergio is Oliver's birthday. Every year when he celebrates his birthday, I would hold a birthday party for him. By then, I'll take the opportunity to confess and give myself to him as a birthday gift. At the coming-of-age ceremony at 18, Henry and Oliver transformed from boys into men together. What a perfect gift. 3. However, before Oliver's birthday, he showed me with facts that there was no possibility between him and me. It was a week before Oliver's birthday. He had just accompanied me to a big lecture and was about to take me to a restaurant for a meal. In college, Oliver was even more dazzling than in high school. More and more people, both women and men, cast their eyes on him. The only thing that remained unchanged was that Oliver was still very close to me and always by my side. I don't even know what means he used to get me, an art department student, into the dormitory of their finance department. He put it nicely as taking care of me nearby. He also relied on his tall stature and carried me around like a pendant. After class that day, Oliver helped me pack up my things and then carried me off to have a meal. We were blocked at the restaurant door by a handsome and tall boy. To be precise, it was Oliver who was blocked, and I was implicated. I had seen that boy several times. He often went to watch when Oliver played ball. I already had a premonition of what was about to happen, and my fingertips were cold with nervousness. Hello, freshman Oliver. My name is Matthew. I'm a sophomore in the finance department. Can we have a private chat? Matthew glanced at me pointedly, with obvious hostility in his eyes. I'm in a hurry. Just say it here, Oliver said impatiently, and tightened his arm around my shoulder. Matthew glanced at me again before saying to Oliver, Oliver, I really like you. Can you give me a chance? I don't like men. Oliver refused directly without even looking at Matthew. He put his arm around the stunned me and was about to leave. Wait a minute. Matthew's face turned pale and his eyes were red. Pointing at me with great unwillingness, he said to Oliver, "You don't like men. Then what is he? Are you comparing yourself with him?" Oliver's face darkened obviously. What right do you have to compare with him? Get out of the way. Matthew ran away in tears. Looking at Oliver, who was excitedly going to buy spare ribs for me, I felt extremely cold inside. While picking out ribs for me, Oliver asked, "Why are you eating so slowly today? Isn't it delicious?" The thick soy sauce spare ribs tasted like wax in my mouth. All I could think about was Oliver's words, "I don't like men." It turned out that Oliver didn't like men. Fortunately, I hadn't had the chance to confess my feelings to him. At this moment, I even felt a bit grateful to that Matthew for testing the waters for me. Without him, I dared not imagine what the result would be for me. Maybe the 18-year friendship between me and Oliver would be over. What's wrong, Henry? Why do you look so bad? Are you sick? Finally, Oliver noticed my absent-mindedness. He reached out worriedly to touch my forehead. I shook my head forcefully, throwing his hand off. He doesn't like men but still acts so indecently. There's no oil on my hands. Oliver was oblivious and forcefully placed his big hand on my forehead. You don't have a fever either, Oliver murmured to himself. Why are you eating so little? I let out a despairing sigh. If I don't like him, why does he still care so much? I decided to lock away my heart and love, keep a distance from Oliver, and return to an ordinary male-male relationship. This way, at least we can preserve our 18-year brotherhood. After dinner, when we got back to the dormitory, I declined Oliver's invitation to play games and climbed into bed alone to sleep. The first step to keep a distance is not to be glued to Oliver all the time. But soon, Oliver turned off his phone and got into my quilt. I suddenly sat up, clutching the quilt tightly, like a young bride being violated by a bad guy. Oliver was startled by me. What's wrong, Henry? From the moment Matthew confessed his love to Oliver until now, I've been struggling for over 2 hours, but Oliver still doesn't understand what's going on. Looking at Oliver's carefree and handsome face, I couldn't scold him or beat him. I could only continue to be in a self-enclosed state. I lay back down again. I'm fine. Stay away from me. No, I'll just hug you. 5. Oliver forcefully yet gently hugged me into his arms and stroked my face. Tell big brother, Henry, what on earth happened today? Why are you in such a bad mood? I was a bit on the verge of crying because of Oliver's tenderness. Then, thinking that such a tender person doesn't like me, I wanted to cry even more. I buried my face on Oliver's shoulder and said in a muffled voice, Oliver, don't be so close to me from now on. Holding back the about to explode Oliver, I took a deep breath and finished speaking. Your behavior might easily make people misunderstand that you like men. Oliver was stunned for a moment, seemingly not expecting the situation to develop like this. But within a minute, he stuck to me again. I don't like men. I only like you. Let others misunderstand if they want to. I closed my eyes and forced a bitter smile. I've been hearing these words that resemble a confession but aren't for more than a decade. I think I'm really amazing to have held out until now before falling for Oliver. Hey! Are the lovebirds cuddling up to sleep again? The eldest and the second eldest in the dormitory came back. Seeing me and Oliver lying together, they started joking. Oliver immediately perked up. Jealous? Huh! Keep being jealous. You single dogs with no one to love. No, where did Oliver get the courage to call others single dogs? Isn't he one himself? After mocking the eldest and the second eldest, Oliver turned to meet my shocked gaze and casually gave me a kiss on the face. Go to sleep, baby. Big brother will stay with you. I silently turned around and closed my eyes. Just let it all be destroyed. I'm tired of talking. 6. My one-sided attempt to keep a distance had no effect under Oliver's strong-handed approach. Oliver clung to me even tighter. In the past, when I had classes and he didn't, he would play basketball with his classmates. Now he's like a shadow following me. He not only accompanies me to class but also wants me to accompany him. Who can understand the embarrassment of an art student being called on by a finance professor to answer questions? Just when I was finding it harder and harder to deal with Oliver, his birthday was getting closer and closer. My original plan fell through, so I had to pick a gift for him again. But I have absolutely no privacy in front of Oliver. He checks my phone more often than his own. Before I even decided whether to buy the things in my shopping cart, he had already emptied it for me. If this isn't love, alas. So tired, I simply asked Oliver directly what birthday gift he wanted. Oliver was helping me slide the skewers off the sticks. Hearing this, he looked a bit confused. He must have forgotten about his birthday. No need. I don't lack anything. Do you want anything? I'll talk to my brothers about it. This straight-laced guy Oliver never takes birthdays seriously. In previous years, apart from the gifts I gave him, almost all of his other birthday presents ended up in my hands. I'm so speechless about this idiot that I want to roll my eyes. I don't want to pick a gift anymore. I'll just send him a red envelope of 22 yuan later. Who knew that Oliver suddenly rolled his eyes and gave me a rascally smile. Henry, I've thought of what birthday gift I want. I had a vague premonition that something was wrong and cautiously asked, "What gift do you want?" I can't afford anything too expensive. You don't need to spend money. Just accompany me to stay outside for one night later. Okay. Rent a hotel room? Oliver, do you even listen to what you're saying? My ears are already burning. Fortunately, it's dark so no one can see me blushing. Why spend that money? Isn't the dormitory big enough for you to stay in? Come on, just promise me. I just want to hold you and have a good sleep. The dormitory bed is too small and there's not enough room. After thinking for a while, Oliver probably also realized something was wrong and added another sentence. I'm not going to do anything. Just let the world be destroyed. Seriously. If it doesn't get destroyed, I'll do it myself. 7. Amid my hesitation and despair, Oliver's birthday really arrived. Oliver didn't invite anyone else. Only the 4 of us in the dormitory went out for a meal together, and then went singing. When Oliver pulled me to sing a love duet with him, I was already very calm. So what? We're even going to share a hotel room later. After singing for a while, the second oldest in the dorm proposed to play a game, the same old truth or dare. He and the oldest in the dorm had been whispering to each other furtively for a long time. I don't know what bad idea they've come up with this time. Oliver was originally unenthusiastic, only thinking about going to the hotel with me earlier. But when the second oldest showed him the card for the punishment, Oliver's eyes suddenly lit up. Naive me had no idea what was going on. They rolled the dice to compare sizes. Oliver was the first one to lose, and the card he drew said, "Choose a person on the spot and call him brother." It seemed quite normal, and I felt relieved. Oliver readily called the oldest in the dorm brother, and the game continued. The second oldest in the dorm was the second one to lose. The card he drew said, "Make a person on the spot call you dad." This was a bit of a problem. Who would call someone else dad for no reason? I was extremely eager and watched with great interest. The second brother rolled his eyes and said to the eldest brother, "Do you want the WeChat of your goddess?" The eldest brother let out a mournful cry of dad, and Oliver and I laughed our heads off. All's well that ends well. I laughed too loudly just now, and I became the loser in this round. I carefully drew a card, secretly praying that it wouldn't be too extreme. Choose a person on the spot and give them a kiss. I seemed to hear a thunderbolt out of the blue. In front was Oliver, looking full of expectation, and behind were the eldest and second brothers, cheering out. Isn't it time to just end it all? Come on, Henry. Don't be afraid. In the enthusiastic atmosphere, I froze like a log. I wanted to flee, but I was also reluctant to miss this opportunity. This might be my only chance to kiss Oliver openly and honestly. I tightly grabbed Oliver's collar and kissed him with my eyes closed. In the darkness, I felt a soft and slightly cool place, with a faint smell of wine. Wow! So exciting. The howls of the eldest and second brothers pulled me back from my daze. I forced myself to open my eyes and pulled away from Oliver. Henry, you're so bold. You actually kissed him on the lips. It was only then that I realized that the punishment didn't require a kiss. The third brother is Oliver. At this moment, he squatted down covering his mouth. I was startled. Is he going to vomit? Homophobic straight men really can't accept same-sex kisses. Nausea is a common reaction. Are you okay? I gently tugged at Oliver's clothes, not daring to touch his body, for fear of overstimulating him. Oliver squatted on the ground without getting up. He looked up at me resentfully, with a blushing face and affectionate eyes. What's going on? I quickly squatted down to support him. What's wrong with you? Where do you feel uncomfortable? Oliver buried his face back in his arms again and muttered, I can't control myself anymore. What, Oliver, are you okay? Aren't you a straight man? Don't you dislike men? 1. It's bad enough that you don't hate being kissed by a guy, but how could you actually have a reaction? Oliver stayed in the bathroom for quite a while. When he came back, the wine was almost finished by the eldest brother, the second brother and me. I didn't even bother to think about what he had done. After paying the bill, the eldest brother and the second brother went back to school. I had to fulfill my promise and accompany Oliver to check into a hotel. 9. Oliver seemed a bit strange at the moment, being quite silent. I quietly observed his expression and said, if you don't want to go, we can still go back to school. It's not too late yet. No, I won't go back. Oliver flatly refused. His scattered gaze became firm, and he strode off, pulling me to the nearest 5-star hotel. After taking a shower and lying in bed, Oliver was very well behaved. As usual, he hugged me properly, with his head resting on my neck. Just when I thought this night would pass quietly like this, Oliver dropped a bombshell. Henry, could you kiss me one more time? I suppressed the turmoil in my heart and looked at Oliver seriously, saying, Oliver, don't forget that you're straight. I haven't forgotten. Just because I'm straight, you won't kiss me? How justifiable he was. Don't you think it's strange for a man to kiss another man? Oliver seemed to imagine it for a moment. He frowned slightly and looked uncomfortable. When he turned his gaze to me, he smiled again. It is a bit strange, but if it's you kissing me, I don't feel it's strange. Still not strange, he's already aroused. I really couldn't understand Oliver. If you say he's straight, he got aroused for almost an hour after I kissed him. If you say he's gay, he seems quite resistant to same-sex intimate behavior. Under Oliver's persistent pleading, I had no choice but to give him a perfunctory kiss on the lips. Oliver was very dissatisfied. He turned over and pinned me down, then kissed me fiercely. Embarrassed, I tried to curl up my body, afraid that he would notice the inappropriate changes in me. Oliver kissed me passionately, and the changes in his body were also very obvious. His kiss changed from fierce to lingering. While rubbing his lips against mine, he pulled my hand down. Henry, baby, help me. 10. It was already 2 hours later when we took a shower again and lay back in bed. My mind was blank, with no desires or demands. Oliver hugged me and was still savoring the moment. 1. This is so comfortable. I still want. No. You don't. I mercilessly shattered Oliver's fantasy and coldly asked a question. Are you still a straight man? Is there a straight man like you? Letting your buddy do that for you and still feeling so comfortable. Is that reasonable? My 3 soul-stirring questions hit Oliver right in the soul. He was stunned for a moment and finally realized the seriousness of the problem. Could I be gay? Oliver shivered and firmly crossed out this terrible speculation. Impossible. I can never accept another man kissing me like this. I'm straight, whatever. It doesn't matter. Oliver's straightness is like Schrodinger's straightness. 11. When we went back to school the next day, we ran into that Matthew again. He seemed to be waiting for Oliver on purpose, holding a beautifully wrapped box in his hand. Seeing us coming, Matthew first looked at me and said, Dear Junior, I have something to say to Oliver. Could you please step aside? Matthew has become smarter. He knows that Oliver won't go with him, so he wants to get rid of me first. I slipped out from under Oliver's arm and said, You guys talk. I'll just say what you have to say. Henry doesn't need to leave. Oliver directly interrupted me and pulled me back into his embrace. Matthew's eyes instantly turned red, yet he still stared firmly at me, looking both strong and pitiful. I sighed, putting myself in his shoes. I didn't want to make Matthew too embarrassed. Patting Oliver's shoulder comfortingly, I gave him a smile. Have a good talk. I'll wait for you in the dormitory. Oliver looked very unhappy, but he still stayed in the end. I could imagine the result of this conversation. Regardless of whether Oliver is straight or not, just because of Matthew's approach, Oliver won't accept it. However, the actual outcome was even worse than I had expected. As soon as I reached the second floor, I heard an exclamation of "Oh my goodness" from the onlookers. Oliver is quite a well-known figure in the finance department. Being stopped downstairs by a senior from the same department, the windows of the dormitory building were full of people watching the drama. I rushed up to the third floor in a few steps, dashed into the dormitory like the wind, and also leaned on the window to look down. The gift box in Matthew's hand fell to the ground. He said something, and Oliver's face turned extremely dark. He shook off Matthew's hand that was holding him, didn't even look at Matthew who had fallen to the ground, and just walked away without looking back. I sighed again. This is the reason why I've always been afraid to speak up. Don't think that just because Oliver is so clingy to me now and we've become so close, if he ever finds out that I'm gay, I'll end up no better than Matthew. 12. Oliver came back fuming. The eldest and the second didn't know where they popped up from, staying quiet without a word. Judging from their expressions, they should have witnessed the whole scene just now. I had nothing to say either. It was eerily quiet in the dormitory. It was still Oliver who spoke first. He generally couldn't keep things to himself. That Matthew completely ruined my good mood. How annoying. The eldest and the second kept winking at me. Their eyes were almost twitching. I had to pick up the conversation. Don't be angry. Just pretend you didn't hear it. How could I pretend I didn't hear it? He's talking nonsense. Spreading rumors and slandering. I originally didn't dare to ask what Matthew had said, afraid of provoking Oliver's anger again. But his words made me rather curious. What did he say? He said, Forget it. The words that were about to blurt out from Oliver were swallowed back. He suppressed his anger and went into the bathroom. I looked at his gloomy face, then shifted my gaze to the eldest and the second, giving them a questioning look with my eyes. The eldest motioned me to look at the second. The second was typing on his phone. I understood what he meant. I first turned off the mute on my phone and then opened WeChat. Sure enough, there were 2 messages sent by the second just a second ago. No wonder the third is angry. That Matthew is really going too far. He should just confess his love and part ways amicably if the third doesn't accept it. Instead, he dragged you into it. He said that you're also gay. Why is the third still with you? As soon as the third heard this, he got angry and said that even if he, Oliver, were gay, you, Henry, wouldn't be. Then Matthew tried to pull him, and he threw Matthew away. Only Oliver, this pure straight man, could say such a thing. I've decided to have a good talk with Oliver. If I don't clarify things, I'm afraid Oliver will break with me after learning the truth. 13. When Oliver came out of the bathroom, his wrists and arms were all red from washing. How much repulsion does he have towards homosexuality? Suddenly, I felt a bit timid. The eldest and the second went out, specifically leaving space for me to persuade Oliver well. They said that among classmates, the relationship shouldn't be too strained. I didn't dare to nod. I'm afraid that after I talk to Oliver, it won't just be a strained relationship. He might even kick me out of the dormitory directly. Oliver changed his clothes and sat down next to me. Habitually, he was about to put his arm around me. I dodged a bit and moved farther away from him so that if he attacks later, I can run away easily. Oliver looked over with his dark eyes and asked, "What are you dodging for?" I lowered my head and picked at my fingers, not daring to look him in the eye. "Well, Oliver, do you really hate homosexuals that much?" "Nonsense. Men with men. That's not normal." But I moved a bit further out and then said, "But you didn't say so last night." "What?" "You said last night that it was extremely comfortable." With a pop, Oliver slapped the table, which made me tremble. "Can that be the same? Can you be the same as other men?" I've already stood up, my legs trembling, but still arguing rationally. "What's the difference? I'm also a man." Oliver also stood up, walked up to me, put his hands on both sides of my body, his eyes looking dangerous. "Henry, what do you mean? Things have come to this point, and I can only go all out." "Oliver, it seems that I'm also gay. I also like men." Oliver squinted his eyes, like a dangerous wild beast. "You like men? Which man? What's his name? I'll kill him." I clung tightly to the bed frame, trying to keep a distance from Oliver. "Oliver, is it possible that the man is you?" 14. Oliver's heavy breathing suddenly stopped. I closed my eyes, hugged my head, waiting to be beaten. Matthew was just pulled by the hand, and he was thrown out by Oliver. 1. I spent half the night getting affectionate with Oliver last night. I was afraid I'd get beaten to death right then and there, but Oliver didn't beat me. After standing there stunned for a while, He suddenly rushed out of the dormitory like the wind and slammed the door and ran away. What does it mean? This is the first time Oliver left me alone in the dormitory except for class. I'm not quite used to it. Sure enough, it's hard to get used to frugality after living in luxury. I have to adapt to living alone as soon as possible. Thinking about it makes me a little sad. I don't know if Oliver will let me move out of their dormitory. After all, this is the dormitory for the finance department. If someone has to move out, it can only be me, an art student. I thought about a lot of messy things. I felt quite uncomfortable and even shed tears. To avoid being seen, I buried my face in the pillow. Then, I fell asleep unconsciously. When I woke up again, it was already afternoon. Oliver was sitting beside the bed. I wasn't fully awake and my mind was a bit muddled. I didn't remember what happened in the morning at first and just stared blankly at Oliver for a while. Oliver looked very calm. He touched the corner of my eye and asked, "Why are your eyes swollen?" I suddenly sat up. I came out of the closet to Oliver this morning. I came out and confessed my love. I even said that I like him. Oh my God. I'm still alive. Oliver smoothed my hair and said, "Why are you so jumpy?" I asked Oliver, "Where did you go?" Oliver coughed and averted his gaze, but his ears quietly turned red. I went out to calm down. I didn't understand and just stared blankly at him. Oliver got anxious. "What are you daydreaming about? You're not going to back out after a nap, are you? You clearly said you like me. What does that mean? Whether you admit it or not, I'm sticking to you. I declare that from today on, Henry and Oliver are officially in a relationship." 15. Oliver was so easily turned gay by me. He even happily invited the eldest and the second eldest to dinner and announced that he was officially off the market. Those two people smiled extremely kindly, just like parents. 1.in fact, life after getting into a relationship didn't change much. Other than being dragged out by Oliver for some affection every week, everything else remained the same. But there was always a faint uneasiness in my heart. 2 weeks later, when I saw a forum link forwarded to me by the second eldest, this uneasiness turned into a tangible thing. I was publicly exposed by my real name on the school forum and the internet. It was said that I pretended to be straight while being gay, seduced someone else's boyfriend, had a chaotic lifestyle, and caused extremely bad influence. My personal information such as my name, photo, school, class, and mobile phone number were all exposed. My phone was bombarded with strange calls, and my inbox was filled with all kinds of abusive, cursing, and vulgar text messages. Some people even condemned me under the school's official Weibo, demanding that the school correct the school spirit and expel gay students. I felt as if I had been stripped naked in public, being judged and pointed at by others. The never-before-experienced fear was like an overwhelming curtain, drowning me head-on. I was sitting in a warm classroom, but it was like being in the cold wind of December, and I couldn't control my shivering. The classmates around me had no intention of listening to the class and secretly sized me up. I felt that they were looking at a strange monster. I bit my lips until they bled, forcing myself not to cry. I just fell in love with someone who also loved me. I was not wrong. The classroom door was suddenly pushed open, and outside the door was Oliver, out of breath. "Sorry, teacher, I'm late." While looking at me, Oliver apologized to the teacher. The teacher glanced at him and said, "I remember you're not a student in the art department." "Yes, teacher. I'm from the finance department. I'm here to accompany my boyfriend to class." 16. The tears that had been held back for a long time welled up in my eyes when I heard Oliver say, "I'm here to accompany my boyfriend to class." 1. Oliver is really my superhero. He showed up by my side and saved me when I was at my most helpless. I wonder if it's because the art teacher has an open-minded attitude, or because of Oliver's honesty that the teacher decided to be lenient. The teacher didn't criticize Oliver. He just said indifferently, "We'll talk about it after class. Don't delay my class." Then he let him find a seat and sit down. Oliver gave me a deep look and then sat directly in the front row without coming to me. But I felt extremely at ease and no longer had the fear and panic I had before. Seeing Oliver sitting directly in the front row, the teacher smiled and continued the lecture. When the bell rang for the end of class, the teacher said to Oliver, "All right, class is over. You can go find your boyfriend now." Everyone burst into laughter and made way for me and Oliver. Only then did I realize that, in the eyes of my classmates, there was no disgust or contempt, only kind-hearted curiosity and teasing. I'm not in hell. I'm still in the warm world. Oliver stepped forward quickly, put his arm around me, and asked in a low voice, "Are you okay, Henry?" Without waiting for my answer, Oliver added, "Don't be afraid that I'm here. I'll always be here." Oliver took me back to the dormitory, turned off my phone directly, and didn't let me look at those messy things anymore. He said he would handle everything. After settling me down and asking the eldest and the second to take good care of me, Oliver went out. I should have gone with him to solve the problem, but Oliver wouldn't let me. He didn't want me to face those messy and unpleasant things. The second one came over to apologize. "Henry, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have forwarded the link to you. I was so angry when I saw it that I didn't think it through. It's okay. I would have found out sooner or later. I didn't want him to feel guilty, so I changed the topic and said, I could hear the keyboard clacking from outside. What are you guys doing?" 17. The eldest and the second are helping me refute those who, without knowing the truth, blindly follow the trend and scold me. So what if someone is gay? Does being gay break the law or eat your family's rice? What does it matter to you if someone is in a relationship? Does your family live by the sea and have such a wide reach? What a load of nonsense about immorality. The old-fashioned ideas died out ages ago. Okay? Stop pretending to be virtuous. Are you pregnant or something? Why are you so easily disgusted? We're in the same dorm and as close as brothers. What's with your so-called disgust? I didn't expect that the top students in the finance department also have a high level of literature. I couldn't help laughing. 1. But I stopped them from fighting for another 300 rounds. 1. I'm afraid they'll be implicated. I've just experienced the taste of being cyberbullied for a whole morning, and I've already felt unprecedented despair and helplessness. 1. If it weren't for Oliver's timely appearance, I don't know if I could have lasted until the end of class. 1. I can't let them be hurt like this either. I don't know how Oliver did it. By evening, the post on Weibo had already been deleted. 1. But those insults didn't stop. They all rushed towards the school's official blog. They're constantly agitating, demanding that the school expel me, a so-called delinquent student. Among them, there are several IDs that are quite familiar, and their frequency of appearance should not be low. 1. I used my second brother's phone to send those IDs to Oliver. Oliver replied, "I'm dealing with it. Don't let Henry see these things. Let him rest well." 1. The emotions that had gradually calmed down in me surged up again. How could I not love such an Oliver? "Don't worry, Oliver. I'm fine and I'm not afraid. Don't be in a hurry either. We just fell in love with each other and didn't do anything wrong." Oliver should be very busy and only sent me an emoji of a hug. I didn't bother him anymore. I silently sorted out the whole thing from beginning to end again and already had a guess about the person who hung up on me. It was a little after 7 p.m. Oliver hadn't come back yet, but the counselor came to see me. He took me to an office where there were also several teachers from the administrative department. I greeted the teachers one by one. Their attitudes were quite gentle and not overly strict. One of the teachers asked me, "Classmate Henry, have you seen the posts about you on the internet?" I didn't say a word and just nodded. He then said, "This post has had a great negative impact on both the school and you personally. Now the school needs to learn about the situation from you. I hope you can cooperate." I looked up and met the gazes of several teachers. Their gazes contained scrutiny, worry, and also puzzlement, but there was also no disgust or contempt. This gave me a lot of encouragement and made me have the courage to say what I wanted to say. "Dear teachers, I only admit one thing among those things mentioned in the online post. I'm gay. Apart from that, all the other things are slander and rumor. I didn't seduce someone else's boyfriend. I only have one boyfriend, so there's no problem of having a chaotic lifestyle. As for affecting others, teachers can ask my roommates and classmates about the situation." The teachers asked me a few more questions, such as whether I had any conflicts with others. I thought for a while and still told the teachers about Matthew's matter. I was unbiased and didn't make any speculations. I only stated the facts. Then the teachers let me go back and told me not to think too much and not to affect my studies. When I came out, Oliver was waiting at the door. With him was also the eldest brother of the Schur family. 19. The eldest brother of the Schur family is 5 years older than me and Oliver. He's a real domineering CEO. Seeing me come out, Oliver, as usual, stroked my head and said, "Henry, don't be afraid. Big brother is here." I was very embarrassed, having just been outed to the whole network, facing Oliver's relatives. I really felt ashamed. Oliver casually pulled me into his arms and complained discontentedly, "Brother, you scared Henry." I pushed Oliver away, greeted Oliver politely, and sincerely apologized. "Big brother, I'm sorry. I'm not afraid but guilty." However, Oliver didn't care. He even joked that Oliver and I were a pair of ill-fated lovers who had just confirmed their relationship and had to face hardships. I was extremely shocked. How did Oliver know that Oliver and I had just confirmed our relationship? Oliver said matter-of-factly. I told him, "Shouldn't we tell our parents when we confirm our relationship?" "You didn't tell your parents, did you? Otherwise, 1. I haven't even had time to think about how to face Oliver's family. Yet Oliver has already come out of the closet in the Seong family with great determination. 1. Aren't you afraid that they'll break your legs? 1. Well, let them beat me. After that, won't they still have to recognize me as their son? 1. Oliver's amazing actions are so astonishing that I don't care about being cyberbullied anymore. 1. Will they really beat you? 1. I don't know. If there really is a fight, will Henry protect me? 1. Yes, I will. I stupidly nodded in Oliver's earnest expectation, and Oliver, who was walking in front, burst into laughter. 21. Oliver came to help handle this matter. It was Oliver who helped to remove that online post. Oliver hasn't achieved financial freedom yet. For things that cost money, I can only turn to Oliver. After Oliver learned about the situation, worried that I might be affected, he flew here directly. The nicer the Sure family treats me, the more guilty I feel. I lured Oliver to Hwada University. Not only did I turn him gay, but I also involved him in such things. I really have no face to face his family. Oliver comforted me and said, "Does Oliver need you to lure him? He wishes he could tie himself to you with a rope." I murmured softly, "But if it weren't for me, Oliver would still be a straight man and would marry and have children in the future." Before Sure Oliver got angry, Oliver laughed first. "Come on. When you two were kids, Oliver said he wanted to take you home as his wife. Your mom and I were still wondering why there was no progress even when you went to college. I wished I could find a hole to hide in. The domineering CEO is really scheming, always remembering others' embarrassing pasts." The meal ended in laughter and fun, and I felt much better. After I got back at night, I received a call from my parents. They had called me many times, but my phone was always off, so I couldn't answer. They were almost frantic. If it weren't for Oliver stopping them, they would have come too. I quickly comforted them, telling them not to worry. "I'm fine, not affected at all." My teachers and classmates are also very nice to me. My mom still couldn't help crying. "Your dad and I told you back then that this path was not easy. Now, something has really happened, right? Hey, why say such things?" My dad blamed my mom. "It'll only make the child feel bad." "Dad, Mom, I'm sorry for making you worry." I felt extremely sad. My being different had made my parents worry more and bear more pressure. However, they had always been very tolerant, never objecting or excluding me. They had given me enough love and confidence, but I hadn't been able to return a better version of myself to them. "Uncle and Aunt, don't worry. I'll take good care of Henry. The matter is being handled. I'll make those who slandered Henry pay the price. You can rest assured." It was Oliver who took my phone. He briefly explained the situation, calmed my parents down, and then hung up the phone. He wiped the tears off my face and resolved all my concerns with just one sentence. "Don't cry. It's not your fault." 21. The school also got involved, and the matter was resolved quickly. On the 5th day, the school's official Weibo posted an announcement. Oliver and I both reposted this announcement and attached the case filing receipt below. Online judges will never disappear. Under the school's official Weibo, there were still people shouting, demanding that the school expel homosexual students and give normal students a clean learning environment. The official Weibo replied to this criticism. Hwada University is an inclusive school. We embrace diversity, seek common ground while reserving differences, and only aim to build a beautiful and harmonious world together. I also replied to those who said, "Since the truth has been clarified and no substantial harm has been done, why pursue legal responsibilities and ruin someone's academic career? In this online violence, it was my lover, my family, and my school that protected me, allowing me to only suffer a little harm. While I'm grateful to them, I can't help but feel a lingering fear. If I didn't have a loving partner to share the storms with, a family that always loves and supports me, and a just, inclusive, and fact-based school, I wouldn't be able to clear my name. I would be drowned in the bloody and filthy online insults. At that time, where were the rumor mongers, and where were you? Don't persuade others to be kind without experiencing their hardships. I'm just exercising my rights and seeking justice for myself. 22. When Matthew was taken away, Oliver and I didn't know. It was the well-informed second brother who sent a photo in the dormitory group that we found out the person who started this online harassment was really him. It's neither surprising nor understandable. He and I are supposed to be of the same kind, yet he hurt me in the way we fear the most. This made me feel a bit down. After Oliver knew about it, he scoffed and said, "What kind of the same kind is he? He's more like a scoundrel." Oliver said, "Don't feel lonely. You'll always have me. We're no different from others. It's just that the person we love happens to be of the same gender."